But one last male won't give up the fight. Whoever wins now is the new dominant male and can choose between all the females. This fight started at dawn. It drags them further and further down the mountain. His battered and exhausted opponent surrenders. Now there's a new task. Climb back up to the cliff and to the females. He knows this route by heart, even in the snow. He knows which paths, cracks, and fissures will guide him upwards. As long as the females are waiting. 50 meters of snow-covered rock separates him from the does. If there were no snow, he'd already be at the top. But today is different. This could be risky. He consults his mental map. Instinct says, be careful. He comes back down and follows the scent another way. Finally, he reaches the first doe with her 6-month-old kid. Some young males follow, but they won't get in his way. He's more concerned with the mating ritual. This male does everything right. He adopts a submissive posture, and his flapping tongue directs her scent to his Jacobson's organ. Positioned between his mouth and his nose, it tells him if the female is ready. She will ovulate only for a short time, so the male has to be patient and stubborn until the female is ready to receive him. It can be hours or days. Wherever she goes, he goes. He has eyes only for her. No time to eat or to rest. He senses she'll soon be ready. On the morning of the 3rd day, the doe finally consents. After mating, they spend a few more hours together. 3 weeks of fighting and courting have exhausted him. He's burned up his energy reserves to pass on his genes. Those 5 kilos of horn suddenly feel very heavy. The king is shattered right at the start of winter. It's December the 20th. The female's work is only just beginning. Her pregnancy lasts 160 days, the whole of the winter. 5.5 months have passed. June is the time of abundance. It's when ibex give birth. Outside the mating season, the males and females stay in separate herds. A male herd needs 1,000 hectares. Females need less and steeper land, sometimes close to the males. The doe has made it through the winter. The fox isn't the only reason she's uneasy. It's too hot, and she's at full term. What she needs is a quiet place where she can give birth alone. After she's satisfied her thirst for salt. Tiny heads peeking over the cliff edge show that most of the does have already given birth. But why so restless? Because the eagle knows this cliff face too. Skimming past the rocks, he grabbed a kid without even stopping. It was 1 day old and hadn't even joined the herd. In less than a minute, he dived 600 meters to dismember his prey. The attack was only 200 meters from the herd. It's unleashed a general panic. The mothers wait for the slower kids to lead them to safety. A 150 meters lower down, the pregnant doe tries to get comfortable. At 8:55 in the morning, Buck sees the light of the world, weighing in at 2.5 kilos. After a few minutes, he can already stand. And as soon as his coat dries, he seeks out a teat. His mother's milk strengthens the immunity she passed on to him in the womb. Right now, anything will disturb her, even an innocent Alpine hare. Her instinct tells her what to do next. She eats the entire placenta. It'll fortify her and enrich her milk. For the fox, her kid would be the perfect prey. But not while the mother's close by. The doe removes every last trace of amniotic fluid from the grass, leaving nothing to attract a predator. The eagle is back at the rock face. He has a territory of 80 square kilometers. This is its epicenter. The eagle strikes the ibex nursery for the second time, 2,600 meters up on the mountainside. The eagle could have looked for prey in the valley, but he came back here. The reason is simple. Down below, the chamois are already a month old. They're too heavy and nimble to catch. The 6-week-old chick doesn't care where the prey's from. It's always hungry. A golden eagle's nest is always set lower than its hunting domain, making it easier to bring in the prey. 3 kilos of booty swoop to the eyrie. Very soon, the young ibex will also be too big and too agile. Then, the chick will get used to a new diet of marmots. Most of the ibex kids will escape the eagle's talons. Just this morning, Buck could hardly stand. Now he's running and jumping. Buck and his mother are watching a group of males far below. Defying the laws of gravity on a vertical rock face. Ibex are amazing climbers. Their hooves work like pincers, gripping each tiny outcrop, splaying their toes to surround it. And there's another secret. Their soles have an elastic anti-slip covering that sticks to the rock. And the 2 rounded spurs at the back of the hoof can dig in like emergency brakes. The wall creeper is an equally expert climber. They rarely meet anyone near their nests on the rock face. And this invasion won't stop the female wall creeper popping out to receive a present from the male. But young ibex and their mothers are the ultimate climbing champions. The males with their long horns, or the chamois, would never try this. At 3 days old, Buck faces a challenge: climb a vertical rock face or fall into the void. His mother shows him how. Buck isn't so sure. Don't think so. His mother comes back down. And she shows him the way again. And there it is. He's done it. The eagle's still out there, but he's distracted by another mammal. The raptor departs for distant hunting grounds. Buck's mother won't let the mammalian biped out of her sight. Once it decimated her species. Right now, it doesn't seem dangerous. Back in 1820, there were just 100 Alpine ibex on the planet. It was a critical situation. Ibex were only seen by royal huntsmen in the Gran Paradiso and in the inaccessible crags of France's Vanoise region. By creating a reserve to protect his hunting rights, the Italian king unknowingly saved the entire species. His hunting grounds later became the Gran Paradiso National Park. At the end of the 19th century, Switzerland wanted to reintroduce the ibex on their side of the border, but Italy refused to cooperate. Enter the smugglers. Risking prison and heavy fines, the mountaineers evaded both ibex mothers and human gamekeepers. The illegal trade went on for decades. 200 ibex, just like buck, were captured and sold in Switzerland. The hiker was only passing. Next day, Buck and his mother rejoin the nursery at the top of the cliff. And it's playtime. But the eagle is out hunting again. He skims the rock face for another surprise attack. And yet, 9 times out of 10, his attacks fail. Luckily, there's no shortage of other prey in the valley. He'll succeed elsewhere. Neither the eagle nor the cliff face can scare Buck now. But there's still so much to learn. He has 10 years to find his space in the clan and his place in the world. It's the end of October. The herd is relaxing at 2,500 meters. Way above them, Buck never strays from his mother's side. They take in the warm autumn sun. The sun's journey is briefer every day. Temperatures dip below freezing at night. The grass has turned yellow. The ptarmigan and the Alpine hare will soon be winter white. In the valley, the larches set the mountain ablaze. Winter is coming. It's December. Buck is 6 months old. He's a plump, handsome kid, well prepared for winter. He's weaned, but he still likes his mother's milk. On the opposite flank, 200 kilos of muscle and horn crash together. With the males at peak weight and strength, this won't be over quickly. The males are about to spend a month together with the females. Up here, everything is still calm. But in the valley below, their chamois cousins are way ahead. As the chamois mating season comes to an end, the ibex are just starting. On the opposite slope, the duel continues deep into the night. The rods in their retinas give ibex superb night vision. The north wind gives way to the west wind. Some years the weather is so bad in December that mating ceases, as a big freeze gives way to a snowstorm. It's the season to draw in your horns, or at least to stop them growing till spring. Buck has double protection against the cold, new layers of down and of fur over his summer coat. It's not as thick as an adult's coat, but this layered protection will help him through the coldest days. A meter of snow has fallen. The ibex's hooves are not made to climb in snow. Ibex don't have the webbed toes that give this chamois a kind of snowshoe. But with so much snow about, it's tough even for him. And the 30 kilos of fat on the back, neck and chest of a big male ibex get in the way. It's tempting to slide downhill rather than climb. But this big male knows better. Safety and salvation are always higher up. It's hard work even to reach the bottom of the great rock face, but there's no choice. The higher he climbs, the thinner the air, but with more than twice as many red blood cells as a human, his muscles still get enough oxygen. 400 meters higher, he stumbles through deep snow towards the herd. Buck and his mother are already up there. From here, they can ignore the two-legged animals passing in the distance. The humans proceed like ants in a line on a terrain that ibex avoid in winter. Yet Buck's mother is still on guard. She's listening out for a tiny break in the snow cover. Buck follows his mother to the areas raked by the avalanche where grass has been uncovered. The rock partridges have the same idea. The north wind is back. Another storm is on the way. An ibex's inner ear picks up tiny changes in atmospheric pressure. The herd knew that 100-kilometer squalls were coming. They took shelter from the strongest winds. Stripping the snow off the mountainside, the gusts reveal lichen and tufts of fescue grass. They'll feed Buck and his mum for some time. An ibex reduces its body temperature to 38 degrees in a winter night, returning to 39 in the morning, all to conserve energy. Their summer pulse rate of 100 beats a minute falls to just 45 in January. And whenever the sun reappears, the male's dark brown coats can trap every last drop of warmth. The thaw, in March, uncovers the avalanche's victims. Only 6 of the 12 kids of Buck's generation have survived the winter. This eagle has consumed plenty of meat from another carcass, and now he's looking for more. He will remember this kid, and he'll be back if he finds nothing better. Down in the forest, Buck is short of breath. Until today, his was a life full of energy and exuberance. Buck is now 3 years old. He's the youngest member of his troop of males. Just a while ago, he left his mother and became independent. She has borne another kid. Life for young males is fun, a summer of delicious food, play, and leisure. Drunk from the juicy grasses, the males frolic in the evening light. Elsewhere, young females are settling some old scores. This is serious. Buck's enthusiasm knows no limits. The big male responds gently to his challenge. White wagtails have returned from their migration all the way south of the Sahara. The ibex now consume gargantuan meals. 8 sharp incisors, all in the lower jaw, tear up the grasses. They're building up their fat reserves. And they're trampling and cutting the meadow grass for the little insect eaters. And the ibex are just passing through. They'll soon leave this place for higher altitudes, following the grasses towards the summit. Over 2 weeks, Buck moves up to 2,500 meters via this abandoned hamlet with plenty of grass. In the 1990s, this valley held more than 2,000 ibex. Today, there are just half that number. What caused the decline? Ibex have only a quarter of the genetic variation of domestic goats. Bred from a single strain, the 45,000 ibex in the Alps are more vulnerable to disease. And that gets worse when wild animals and farm animals mix. Herds of goat climb the mountains in summer to escape the heat and to find fresh grass. They come into contact with ibex. Goats and sheep can contaminate an area, passing foot rot, parasites or bacteria to their wild cousins. A disease can infect an entire herd, crossing back and forth between domesticated and wild animals. The ibex are also suffering from climate change. The grass is growing earlier, and it's not at its best when mothers need it to make milk for their young. At midday, Buck enjoys the rocks warmed by the sun and chews the cud with the other males. These are the quiet days. Take your time. Plenty of time for a siesta. The ibex is an animal of legend. The biggest males weigh more than 100 kilos and sport horns more than 1 meter long. And there's one mystery. Why do some males migrate? On an autumn day, a group of nomads sets off on a long trek. They know where they're going, following paths passed down through generations. Some will cross the glacier to winter territories more than 20 kilometers away. Some fall by the wayside. They make this journey year after year, leaving the rest of their herd behind. Buck is 4 years old now. He doesn't leave the valley. His herd follows a strict calendar set by the growth of the grass. This is the lowest point of their vertical migration. It's like visiting another world. They come here every year. It's not enough to have plenty of grass. Like all ruminants, they need salt. They know where to find it. This is a treat, licking traces of salt off the roads. But there's one even greater delicacy: saltpeter on the walls. These places are in great demand. Buck is the youngest member of the group. As ever, the biggest horns decide who goes where. The following spring, Buck is 5. He's found a cool place at the foot of a waterfall. The thick coats that gave protection at -20 are an annoying burden in May. It's getting hotter and hotter. Any way to scratch the itch is welcome. We know that some animals medicate themselves with plants. So why is this ibex mowing a wild spinach called goosefoot? Cows would reject it, but cow herds wouldn't. Humans traditionally turned it into poultices for treating wounds and abscesses. The ibex uses it to relieve its itching chest. Every year in May, the larch forest hosts a great ibex gathering. The pygmy owls and the animals with the amber eyes and lozenge pupils become neighbors. The herds from the cliff face mix with ibex from the opposite hillside. The migrating ibex are back too, and more than 50 males are getting ready for some friendly jousting. Buck has found a sparring partner amongst the juveniles. He tries to imitate the big males, but never quite manages to engage his horns with his opponent's skull. That's not the way to make it to head of the herd. The length of your horns counts. And so does the force of the impact. A thick layer of bone on the front of their skulls protects their brains from these sledgehammer blows. A new hierarchy is slowly emerging from these skirmishes. The real battles will come later, in December. Each winter slowdown creates a new ring on the horns, just like the rings of a tree. But the bulges on the front don't tell you the age of an ibex. Life expectancy is 14 years for a female and 12 for a male. One ibex in this valley reached the extraordinary age of 21. Buck is 8 years old. It's a long time since he was afraid of the eagle and the fox. But this is something new. Adult wolves have left their cubs behind to go hunting. Wolves had disappeared for a century, but the ibex never forgot them. Now they're back. Buck and his herd must find a way to live with them. January. Wolves ambushed a young male ibex at the foot of the rock face. It happened yesterday at dusk. The wolf pack had climbed to 2,500 meters to claim this territory. They surrounded the ibex at the foot of the cliff. It happened very fast. His stomach is full from the banquet. The other ibex climbed to safety 400 meters up the rock face. At dawn, the last wolves leave the remains and return to the forest in the valley. Buck is now 9 years old. He could have been last night's prey, but the wolves took the weakest member of the herd, a limping ibex that couldn't climb the steep rock wall. The scraps are free for all comers. Even the super predator of the skies isn't ashamed to be a scavenger in winter. The next winter, Buck is 10 years old, ready to mount his challenge to be dominant male. In this rutting period, the calm of the big males is deceptive. In a fraction of a second, the mood can flip. This is the decider. Buck's horns, heavy with solid keratin, are formidable weapons. If he's to transmit his genes to the next generation, he must come out of this on top. Buck is tiring, but so is his opponent. Stunned and dizzy, he absorbs the blows as best he can. This is his chance to finish it. For this female, Buck is the chosen one. Now it's just a matter of patience and timeless ritual. It's the 15th of March. Buck and his herd sense a sudden thaw. What brought them to this area of rock overhangs? Why haven't they moved for 48 hours? Asleep on their feet, but still on their guard. Has nature given them a sixth sense? Once again, Buck has escaped the worst. But one day in April, a falling rock ended everything. For 10 years, armed with the resources nature gave him and his species, Buck survived terrible winters. He learned to outwit predators and scale the steepest cliffs. On his way to becoming the dominant male, he first lost and then won combats against the strongest of his species. A new generation now carries his genes onwards. They too will become acrobats on the rock.